At some point, I think we'll look back and say John Elway stole Paxton Lynch at the bottom of the draft.
And so when you look at a guy like Paxton Lynch and the kind of potential that he has, he could not have fallen into a better situation. It's a beautiful move.
During the 2015 season, quarterback Brock Osweiler would start 7 games for the Broncos as Peyton Manning was recovering from a foot injury. Osweiler would look pretty good in those games as he would go 5-2 as the starter. In the offseason, Osweiler would sign a 4-year, $72 million contract with the Houston Texans. After that, there were serious questions as to who the Broncos would start at quarterback going into the 2016 season. So they went out and signed veteran quarterback Mark Sanchez just 2 days after Brock Osweiler signed with Houston. Obviously, there was no way Mark Sanchez would be the long-term answer at quarterback. So with their first-round pick, the Broncos traded up in the draft to take Paxton Lynch out of Memphis at 26th overall. Coming out of college, Paxton Lynch was labeled as a little bit of a project, but a player who had insanely high potential. Lynch was listed at 6'7" and flashed a strong arm with the ability to make plays with his feet as well. Many experts believed that the Broncos would be perfect for developing Paxton Lynch and helping him reach his full potential. Not only that, but with Mark Sanchez, there was now some veteran leadership to help out Paxton Lynch and help him learn the NFL game. Heading into the 2016 season, it was announced that 7th round pick Trevor Siemian beat out both Mark Sanchez and Paxton Lynch and would be the Broncos' new starting quarterback. The initial plan seemed like it would be to have Mark Sanchez be the bridge quarterback and then pass the torch to Paxton Lynch whenever he was ready. But now, Siemian is the starter and potentially the quarterback of the future as he was only entering his 2nd season in the NFL. So right off the bat, this raised serious concerns about Paxton Lynch. It's not typical that you see a 1st-round quarterback get beat out in the preseason by a 7th-round quarterback who has yet to attempt an NFL pass. In the first 3 games of 2016, Trevor Siemian led the Broncos to a 3-0 record and looked great, completing 67% of his passes, averaging over 250 yards per game, and posting a passer rating of 95.9. But in week 4, Trevor Siemian would go down with a shoulder injury before the end of the first half versus the Buccaneers. This gave Paxton Lynch the perfect opportunity to get his first NFL regular season action. And he actually didn't look too bad, as he threw for 170 yards and a touchdown and led the Broncos to a 27-7 victory. The following week, Paxton Lynch made his first career NFL start against the Falcons as Trevor Siemian continued to recover from his shoulder injury. In his first start, Lynch would show some flashes of potential but be pretty inconsistent. He completed 65% of his passes for 223 yards, threw for 1 touchdown and 1 interception, and had a passer rating of 81. And the Broncos suffered their first loss of the season. Lynch was also sacked 6 times, which was a record amount for any Broncos rookie quarterback. So heading into week 6, the Broncos decided to return to Trevor Siemian as he had fully recovered from his injury. The Broncos would remain in the hunt for a wildcard spot with Siemian at quarterback, and Paxton Lynch wouldn't get to play again until week 13 against the Jaguars. Siemian sprained his foot and Lynch got his 2nd career start where he would do a whole lot of nothing. Despite the Broncos coming away with what would be the only victory of Paxton Lynch's career as a starter, Lynch only threw for 104 yards and completed only 50% of his passes with no touchdowns and no interceptions. So in the midst of a potential playoff appearance, the Broncos once again went back to Trevor Siemian the next week, and Paxton Lynch would not get another chance to play in 2016. And the Broncos would wind up missing the playoffs. Heading into 2017, the Broncos made an interesting offseason move at quarterback. After a failed season in Houston, Brock Osweiler was traded to the Browns where he would be quickly released. The Denver Broncos decided to bring back Osweiler on a 1-year deal. So now heading into the preseason, the quarterback battle would be between Brock Osweiler, Trevor Siemian, and Paxton Lynch for the starting job. But in week 3 of the preseason, Paxton Lynch would go down with a shoulder injury that would sideline him for the first 10 games of the season, costing him the opportunity to win the starting job. Trevor Siemian would look bad as the starter and would ultimately be benched for Brock Osweiler, who would also play horribly. When Paxton Lynch was healthy, he was named the starter in week 12 against the Raiders. Lynch would play terribly as he only threw for 41 yards and threw an interception while posting a passer rating of 38 3.4. Unfortunately, in the third quarter, he suffered an ankle injury that would lead to him missing the next 3 games. Then in the final game of the season, Lynch was given the start and would be pretty inconsistent yet again, completing 67% of his passes for 250 yards with 2 touchdowns and also 2 interceptions. The Broncos would wind up losing the game. Going into 2018, it was announced that Paxton Lynch would be the backup to newly signed quarterback Case Keenum. Then in training camp, Paxton Lynch was demoted to 3rd string after losing the backup job to Chad Kelly. And then before week 1 of the regular season, it was announced that Paxton Lynch had been released by the Broncos. This is where the real whirlwind would begin for Lynch. After being released by the Broncos, Paxton Lynch would sign with the Seattle Seahawks in 2019 and would be released during final roster cuts. Then he got signed by the Pittsburgh Steelers practice squad and he would be released within a year. Then in 2021, he decided that he would try his luck in Canada as he signed with the Saskatchewan Roughriders of the CFL. Lynch was the 4th string quarterback and was cut from the team without even attempting a single pass. So since the CFL wouldn't work, Lynch would enter the USFL draft where he would be drafted in the 12th round and was the last of 16 quarterbacks drafted, despite being the only quarterback that had ever started in an NFL game. Paxton Lynch started 3 games and threw for only 95 yards per game while throwing 5 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. This would be Paxton's only season in the USFL. At the beginning of 2023, Lynch signed with the Orlando Guardians of the XFL and would start for the team in week 1 of the XFL season. In his XFL debut, Paxton Lynch threw for 125 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. And once again, he got benched. And also once again, he got released, as the Orlando Guardians decided to release Paxton Lynch after only appearing in 5 games with the team. So now, Paxton Lynch is a member of the San Antonio Brahmas of the XFL. What a whirlwind it has been for him. A player who had such a bright future ahead of him. The defending Super Bowl champions traded up in the 1st round of the NFL draft to give Paxton Lynch the opportunity to be their franchise quarterback. And now he's been cut from nearly every football league in existence. Was it just bad luck? Was it injuries? Was it his fault? Or was he just in a bad situation? I'd say a combination of all of the above has led to Paxton Lynch becoming one of the most mysterious and forgotten about draft busts in the history of the NFL. Hey everyone, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, as it will go a long way in helping me grow this channel for you. Also in the comments, let me know any videos that you want to see on this channel, because I want to make sure I'm making content for you. And once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.